Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? I am traveling, so I'm actually videoing this video in advance, so when it goes up it's the past. That's just crazy, right? But I am only going to be getting this one video up this week, but I did want to share with you guys some of the books that I've purchased over the last few weeks. Really, a lot of these are inspired by either the authors that wrote them when I met them, or a lot of my BookTube friends inspired these purchases. So if they're inspiring me, I hope I am inspiring you to put them on your TBR. So as I always say, get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads. However you keep track of your TBR. I have a feeling if these aren't already on your TBR, they're going to be after I talk about them. Ready? The first book was actually purchased when I went and saw the author Stephen Rowley speak regarding his book, The Editor, which I absolutely loved, and that was his second novel. And this is his first novel, Lilly and the Octopus. Now, most people, when I said I hadn't read Lilly and the Octopus yet, were like, Russell, why haven't you read it? You're absolutely going to be loving it. Lilly is the name of a little wiener dog, or a Dachshund, and this is the relationship between her and her human friend, Ted. Something befalls Lilly, and Ted's life becomes one of, how does it put it here? Ted will do everything in his power to keep her safe when something sort of goes awry for her. As you guys know, I have 5 fur babies, 3 dogs, and 2 cats, and I am attached and in love with all of my children. So I feel like this book just speaks to my soul. I've heard nothing but rave reviews. So if you haven't picked up Lilly and the Octopus yet, and like me, you are one of those people that loves books about animals and the relationships between animals and their families, this is for us. So there you go, Lilly and the Octopus by Stephen Rowley. The next book I picked up at that same event, and it was on the recommendation of my friend Chris over at Chris's Bookish Cauldron. He had read this book, I want to say last year. I think it was in his top 10 reads from last year. And I have been meaning to pick it up, and I saw that the paperback was available, so I picked up The Gunners by Rebecca Kauffman. This novel, when it came out in hardback, I kind of saw it everywhere, and I don't know why I didn't pick it up, because it seems like everything that I would love. So this is the story of Mikey. Mikey is a man who suffers from macular degeneration, so his vision is constantly cloudy. And there's sort of this blurb on the back that it's not only his vision about life, but about his emotional development and all that sort of stuff. But what happens is his friend group, which are called the Gunners, are brought back together when one member of their group has committed suicide, Sally. So at the end of her life, she had distanced herself, bookmark overboard, she had distanced herself from her friend group, and then she winds up committing suicide. And this book is about that friend group coming to terms with her death, but also about the secrets of not only her life, but the secrets that she held regarding the friend group in and of itself. So it's going to be one of those novels. I don't know why I haven't picked it up. If Chris tells me to read it, I usually absolutely love it. And yeah, everything about that. So this is The Gunners by Rebecca Kauffman, and I can't wait to finally get this one under my belt. I'm going to put this bookmark back in here. I actually got this book at a bookstore called A Great Good Place for Books in Oakland, California, in the Montclair Village. Totally adorable little independent bookstore, not bigger than really a shoebox, but had such amazing selection, had a great curation. I really loved it. So if you are in the Oakland area, I highly recommend the bookstore, A Great Good Place for Books. I got 2 books while I was there. The next book was one of those books that my friend Emily over at Possibly Literate has talked about so much that I finally picked it up, and that is The Diviners by Libba Bray. I know that this is the first in a very large series. This is the story of Evie, and this book is sort of set in the 1920s in New York. It obviously has sort of a magical, occult aspect to it. So what happens is she is moved to New York by her family. It says on the back that she's banished there to live with her uncle. Her uncle has a weird obsession with the occult. What happens is that there is a murder, and it turns out that our main character has a power that she thinks can help her find a serial killer. And that's what this book is about. And I guess there are other characters and other storylines that are brought in, but that's really just the start of the basis for this book. And I know that this is a series, and I know my friend Emily loves it, and I actually think Madeline also loves this at Novel Inc. So that's The Diviners by Libba Bray, and yeah, I've been meaning to pick it up forever. Every once in a while, I absolutely love just a solid YA fantasy novel. I just do. I really do. So I'm happy and excited to get this on my list. But now we're going to go into some YA sort of fantasy. And this book has been really raved about by Lauren over at Lauren in the Books. And I believe her boyfriend, David, is currently reading Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. Now, our main character, Morgan Crow, was born on a day that is considered the most cursed day. And it's sort of been a prophecy that she's going to die at midnight on her 11th birthday. What happens is a man swoops in and takes her away to a magical world called Nevermore, where she is put into, how does it put it on the back here? Let me see. She must contend for a place in the city's most prestigious organization, the Wondrous Society. Morgan must compete in 4 dangerous trials against hundreds of other children, or she will have to confront her deadly fate. So I think this is going to be fun. I think this is sort of a YA fantasy novel, which I always read a few of these a year because I'm always looking for books to share with my nieces and nephews. And Lauren in the Books has absolutely raved about this. I think actually Mercedes loves this book very much too. So that's Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. Okay. See, I told you all of these books are inspired by these different booktubers that I absolutely adore. And this one is no different. This one was brought to my attention by Kendra Winchester over at Kendra Winchester, or The Reading Women. They did a whole episode on The Reading Women, where they talked about this, well, not this book. They did an episode. They are focusing on Muslim women writers for this month, or is it last month? I can't exactly remember the dates. And The Bird King by G. Willow Wilson was on that list. Now, I didn't realize this. G. Willow Wilson is actually the writer behind the Marvel comic series, The New Ms. Marvel, which I am a huge fan of. And so I saw this book. 1, I think the cover is just gorgeous. And 2, it just sounds so good. So The Bird King is the story of Fatma. I'm just going to take a moment to show you the end papers. Oh, so good. Fatma is a member, she's a concubine in the royal court in Granada, and her best friend is Hassan. Hassan has a secret power where he can actually map places that he has never been to and create sort of these worlds through maps. What happens is the Spanish arrive to take over and sort of negotiate the surrender of the Sultan of Granada. And Fatima is in charge of welcoming the women in and into the court. But what she does determine is that if her friend Hassan is found out, what he can do with maps is going to be considered magic. This is sort of the Spanish Inquisition, and that he could be put to death. So Fatima and Hassan go on an adventure across Spain in search of really sort of safety and a way for them to live the rest of their lives. Kendra and everyone on the channel who read this book absolutely loved The Bird King. And yeah, I'm super excited about this one. So that's The Bird King by G. Willow Wilson. The next book is my Book of the Month Club book, and that is Lost and Wanted by Nell Freudenberger. I think that's right. Now, this one has sort of a science fiction angle to it, so I'm going to have to read it to you because I couldn't figure out in my head how to bring it into a collective narrative. But it says, Helen Clapp's breakthrough work on 5-dimensional space-time landed her a tenured professorship at MIT. Her popular books explain physics in plain terms. Helen disdains notions of the supernatural in favor of rational thought and proven ideas. So it's perhaps especially vexing for her when, on the otherwise unremarkable Wednesday in June, she gets a phone call from a friend who has just died. That friend was Charlotte Boyce, Helen's roommate at Harvard. The two women had once confided in each other about everything. In college, the unwanted advances Charlie received from a star literature professor after graduation, Helen struggles as a young woman in science. Charlie's as a black screenwriter in Hollywood. They shared challenges as parents. But as the years passed, Charlie became more elusive and her calls came less and less often. And now she's permanently, tragically gone. As Helen is drawn back into I keep saying Charlie's orbit. I guess Charlie is short for Charlotte. I'm sorry. And also into the web of feelings she once had for Neil Jonell, a former college classmate, now an acclaimed physicist on the verge of a Nobel Prize winning discovery. She is forced to question the laws of the universe that have always steadied her mind and heart. So I think that sounds fantastic. So that's Lost and Wanted by Nell Freudenberger. I'm a huge fan of Book of the Month. You guys know I love that they give you choices, and I love that you can bring other books, and you can just get a bunch of different stuff. And yeah, absolutely love it. Last but not least is a book I talked about in my nonfiction video. I think that was my last video, so I won't spend too much time on Zora and Langston. The Story of Friendship and Betrayal by Yuval Taylor. I got this actually at a bookstore across the street from the great good bookstore in Oakland, and I can't remember. I want to say it had Tree in its title. I can't remember. This is a nonfiction book actually about the relationship between Zora Neale Hurston and Langston Hughes. Turns out that they were great friends and they had a great fallout that really, at the end of it, they just sort of pretended like they never were as close as they actually were. And this book is really about their amazing friendship and really their effects on the Harlem Renaissance and the literature that was produced. Langston Hughes, as you guys probably know, is one of the most acclaimed, fantastic poets to come out of the Harlem Renaissance. He's amazing. And Zora Neale Hurston's Their Eyes Were Watching God is the most read novel by an African American in U.S. history. It's the most purchased. So there you go. So this is Zora and Langston, A Story of Friendship and Betrayal by Yuval Taylor. So yeah, there you go. So that is a stack of books that I bought lately. I hope a bunch of them wind up on your TBR. Have you guys read any of them? Which ones would you recommend and which ones are you excited about? As always, if you are a return subscriber, thank you so much. I can't do this without you. If you are new to my channel, I wish you come back and see some more videos. I really appreciate it. As always, until next time, I wish you happy reading and we'll talk to you soon. Bye!